And welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Podcast, the show where we take a given movie genre and we explore those. Crap, y'all. I had a snappy intro, but I can't find it. Hold on. Let me see. It might be here in my We Are Going to Be Friends signed book by Jack White. No, that's not it. Hold on, let's see if it's under this Jack White doll I made. It's actually kind of creepy. Not there. Hold on. It's not in this Jack White guitar.
Oh, wow.
I'll find it. Hold on, guys. Just give me a second. Oh, let's see. Is it in this LP case? No, it's not in my Jack White Stripes LP case. Oh, behind this this concert poster of also Jack White. No, I'm sorry. I can't find it. Anyway, we are exploring movies that feature an appearance by Jack White. Good, bad, and ugly.
Yes, we are.
I am Mark.
Hey, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Charles.
And so I have a little egg on my face, not only because I lost the intro, but also because last episode I said there were exactly 3 movies that featured an appearance by Jack White, and then I uncovered a 4th that's apparently in the vault. So I watched it, and we'll do a quick little thing about it. But that's the reason I picked these, was because I thought there were exactly 3. And I considered one bad, one good, and one ugly. So it seemed like more than coincidental we had to do it, because I'm such a big fan, if you couldn't tell from my plethora of paraphernalia.
That is an epic memorabilia collection. I feel impressed, Mark. That's amazing.
And right. I also was going to say real quick, so Meowington Mills was in the last episode, and there's some discussion about cats, and I just want to say he and I, we agree on pretty much everything. But I do want to clarify that, I don't think Cats is a good movie, but I just don't think it's ugly or bad. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, still adamantly against it in every possible way. I stand firm in that.
It really affected my kids. They really liked it. So, take that for what it is. But my comments still stand.
Okay.
All right. So shall we get into it? The problem here is we've got 2 that came out in 2003.
We'll start with Coffee and Cigarettes, I think. So you ready to get into that one?
Yep, and I've got the synopsis.
Okay.
A comic series of short vignettes built on one another to create a cumulative effect as the characters discuss things as diverse as caffeine popsicles, Paris in the 20s, and the use of nicotine as an insecticide, all the while sitting around sipping coffee and smoking cigarettes. Sorry, that was... As director Jim Jarmusch delves into the normal pace of our world from an extraordinary angle, he shows just how absorbing the obsessions, joys, and addictions of life can be.
All right. And here is the trailer.
You're Bill Murray. Bill Groundhog Day ghost busting ass Murray.
Who you gonna call?
I know that. Just don't tell anybody.
If you don't like it here, we go down to Taco Bell or something. Maybe that's more your style.
What are you saying, man? You're saying like I'm like a Taco Bell kind of guy?
How long have you been living in LA?
Oh, well, we've been here about 7 years.
I do love visiting LA. It's a great place to visit. It's even a nicer place to leave.
Do you smoke?
Only when I drink coffee. I drink a lot of coffee before I go to sleep, and I can dream faster.
That's how my dreams were.
How's Johnny?
Who?
Jimmy. Tommy.
Lee.
Coffee and cigarettes, that's not too healthy, is it now? Can I get you a sandwich or something?
No.
Y'all from around here?
No.
You brother and sister?
Yes.
I worked with this drummer the other day. I think you ought to check him out.
What are you trying to tell me? The drumming on my record sucks, or what are you saying?
So, Jack, are you going to show me how the coil works?
Yeah, all right.
I have a dentist appointment, but I don't want to go. I don't like the dentist. You want to go for me?
Thank you very much.
Are you 2 twins?
Yes, she is.
Give me your home number. I'll call you.
Can I say no?
Cigarettes and coffee, man. That's a combination.
Damn! That don't sound too good, Bill Murray.
just Smoker's Club.
And that was the trailer for Coffee and Cigarettes. And we never actually ran through the title, so we're looking at this one. We're looking at Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, and Cold Mountain. And
Mutant Swingers from Mars.
And Mutant Swingers from Mars. That's the fourth one I mentioned, which is a weird one. But I don't know, Kelly, Charles, do y'all want to go ahead and make your guesses as you light up there?
Mark, I don't know. I was so I watched, what did I do? I did Walk Hard first, then Cold Mountain, and then Coffee and Cigarettes. And after the first two, I was pretty positive that I knew what was going to be. So I thought Cold Mountain was going to be good, Walk Hard was going to be ugly, and Coffee and Cigarettes was going to be bad. And when I started Coffee and Cigarettes, I hated it. Like the first vignette, I absolutely couldn't stand, as probably comes as a shock to no one. But then it kind of reeled me in, and I didn't love it or anything. I wasn't a huge fan of the way it was constructed, but I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, by the end, I was like, all right. So, and I don't. I'm gonna stick to my gut. I'm gonna still say it's bad, but I don't really think it's bad.
Okay. Charles?
As I told you, Mark, I have no idea what your picks are here. Because as I said last time, these movies aren't my favorite, but I kind of feel like they're all sort of good. The thing is, I don't know. It's hard because are you going with like the more what the Academy Awards did as far as you're good, like towards like Cold Mountain? Are you going more for your like silly like musician side for like the Walk Hard? I don't know, but I would say probably Cold Mountain is your good, Walk Hard's your ugly, and Coffee and Cigarettes is your bad. I don't agree with that, but that's what I'm thinking you did.
From somebody who loves Little Nicky so much, I could easily have have picked Walk Hard as a good. Okay, so I'll just say Coffee and Cigarettes. So here's my history. So I watched this a long time ago. I bought it because Jack White was in it. I get kind of monomaniacal about my fan things. Like I just get caught on one thing and then just go crazy with that one thing. So I bought this. I'm like, oh, cool, Jack White's in it, and he was only in it for a vignette. I didn't even realize it was a series of vignettes when I bought it. And I was kind of scared last episode when you mentioned, Charles, that you thought all these were pretty good movies, because I thought, oh crap, did I forget? And going back and watching Coffee and Cigarettes, it's just not a good movie. So I think the problem with this movie,
so this is
I
your
understand
bad?
it is my bad.
Okay.
Pick. So there are really strong vignettes in it. The problem is they're sandwiched between my two least favorite. And there's a lot of bad ones mixed in, but the first, like you said, Kelly, is just so deadpan, and there's no dynamic to it at all. It's just these two people who don't seem to know each other, and it feels like they're trying to be artsy without the art. And
so,
it's just...
which one's your favorite out of all these vignettes? Is it the Jack White one, or do you have?
The Jack White one's pretty strong. But I think my favorite is probably the I forget the actor's name who plays Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. He's been in some other things. It's that one where he sits down.
Alfred Molina.
Yeah. And he's talking to
Steve Coogan.
I don't know he's talking to how do you pronounce it? Coogan?
No, Coogan. Steve Coogan.
Oh, Steve Coogan, about being cousins, and he thinks he's pitching him this movie idea, and he's really not. And so the tables kind of turn in it. It was kind of clever. And I also like the Cate Blanchett where she plays two people. That one was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one's so bad. The last one, that's what I remember the most about this movie, is thinking, oh, they're going to end it on some upbeat, high, like interesting, quirky note. But it was this really like somber, two older men discussing this poetic thing, and they can hear this music, and one of them is really forgetful, and it just kind of ends in this sad note. And I remember the movie ended, and I thought, that was a waste of my time.
It's true. They do exactly what you're taught not to do. You know, when you write something, or when you watch a movie, it's like you want to start with a really strong one, and you want to end on your strong, if not your strongest one. And some of the middle ground can be a little bit less fantastic. But the first one and the last one were the worst ones. And then everything. If you had put those in the middle and then ended with maybe like started with the Kate Blanchett one and ended on Alfred Molina, then we could have watched the exact same movie, but just all come away with it with a more positive feeling.
Well, and what's funny about it is, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was shot over like 17 years or something like that. So the first one you're talking about with Roberto Benigni was shot in 1986. So, and the movie was released in 2003. So this was something they did for years and years and years. Also, Jim Jarmusch, I mean, he's a pretty acclaimed director. He did Only Lovers Left Alive, which I think you like, Kelly, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And he did Broken Flowers, and so he likes working with Bill Murray. But I just I don't know. I like this movie. You're right. There's some vignettes that are no, they don't go anywhere. I don't like them. And then there's some that are actually really funny. I like the Iggy Pop one and Tom Waits. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's awkward, but it's funny, and it's funny. We showed it in the trailer. They're just the two of them talking. Everybody basically is playing themselves to an extent. So I don't know. I kind of there is a line like blurred between like art and entertainment and reality and all that stuff, and I think this movie kind of handles it well. I'm not saying it again. It's not saying it's my favorite movie, but I do kind of enjoy it. It's like what you said, Kelly. Like you start watching it, and it's like, oh man, this is terrible, and then you get into it, and you're like, how am I going to finish the rest of this movie? And then it just goes by because it actually is pretty entertaining. It keeps your attention. So I like the Bill Murray one is probably my favorite. I like that one. This is Bill Murray drinking straight out of the coffee pot.
Talking about naturalistic healing with the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, I mean, what other movie's going to do that?
So, yeah, that's funny. I think all of these are good in concept, right? Like, but there's nothing about the actual watching of it. I think I could get just as much out of something like that. Oh, that would be awesome if RZA and Bill Murray were in the same skit. And he's like, but watching it didn't. I don't know. It doesn't add anything extra to it.
Maybe. I don't know. I kind of like it though.
I mean, it was good because Bill Murray was in it.
Well, okay, so what?
For no other fact.
Why does Jack White have a Tesla coil? Like, what is that about?
So he's huge into Tesla.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like the symbol for, in fact, I can run and get it when I'm done talking. The symbol for Third Man Records, his record label, is like a huge Tesla.
Okay, so that's context I didn't know. That makes so much more sense because it was really random. I mean, I know it's Meg White sitting there talking with him, but I was like, what is up with the Tesla coil?
Yeah, and I like that Meg White knew more than he did, and she that's kind of their dynamic. So for those who don't know, Jack White, most known for the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, Icky Thump. They're putting out a lot of merchandise. Icky Trump, which is a funny little turn of the phrase. It's like anti-Trump stuff. But so he's also in two other bands, the Raconteurs and the Dead Weather, and he has a solo career as well. And produces. He's huge in Nashville. It's got Third Man Records there, and he's getting into country music, and obviously does rock and all of that. So he's kind of like a musician's musician. He's not like hugely famous and popular, but most musicians know him and know of him, and he's pumping.
But it is curious why he's in all these movies like this. Like,
yeah,
how does he get involved in these little tiny cameos? Like, this movie's probably his longest screen time, right? Like,
yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe Cold Mountain if you stitch all of his scenes together.
Yeah, Cold Mountain. He plays more of a integral role, I would say, in Cold Mountain.
Yeah, I just don't think he's on the screen that much, and he doesn't have much dialogue at all. And I didn't finish Mutant Swinger, so I don't know if how much he's in that at all.
Not much. He's kind of like a hipster's hipster type thing. Like, he's actually authentic, whereas a lot of hipsters aren't. And so I think that's why he's drawn into these little kind of like more art movies like Coffee and Cigarettes.
Yeah.
I mean, Dewey Cox, obviously not, but
yeah, but you got to play Elvis at that one, so
yeah.
That was so strange.
It was very strange. So yeah, these are like a really eclectic gathering of movies that he just happened to be in.
They are. Yeah, I don't. It would be hard to think of 3 movies that are more different to be talked about in the same episode.
Yeah. You are
But I like
welcome, everyone.
You
But
always keep
Charles,
us on our toes, Mark.
I could see why you would like coffee and cigarettes more. I think we had this discussion in the Tim Burton episode because I feel like you enjoy movies more, not more, but you enjoy movies that are also like cinematically centered, and that you enjoy movies for reasons that aren't just the entertainment value,
Right.
which I respect and appreciate.
Well, and I would say that I know this movie's not one that's going to catch a mainstream audience, right? Like, I just can't see this being that popular, even with all the people in it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there are levels I appreciate it on for that. I like the concept of it being over 17 years. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy.
And actually, I did, and I talked to you guys about this. I did when I was in college. I did a little promo for the film club I was in, and this movie somewhat inspired it. And the concept was in the club we were in. We would pair people together. People didn't know each other to go out and make a movie. You know, a short movie, bring it back, and basically learning to work together. Blah blah blah. And so for this promo, it was me and my friend Nick, who were officers in the program. We were like, what if one of us was like, you know, a real arty kind of guy, and one of them was like a more mainstream person? And what kind of movie would they make if they made a movie together? So if you guys, I don't know if you want to talk more about yours, or if I can show my little promo here, because I think people might get a kick out of it. Seeing,
sounds good.
All right,
let's show them. Give them what they want.
All right, so here we go.
Oh man, Spielberg. I mean, he started this summer blockbuster with Jaws. It was everybody couldn't get enough of that damn shark. Even though it was the stupidest looking thing in the world, people flocked to it. And then every summer since then, bigger and louder. It's genius.
People often ask me, hey, why don't you save a little bit of money and shoot your films on digital?
People can just take a camera and go film, make movies. I made 16 last week.
They're films. They're films because I shoot them on film.
I mean, film is dead. Deal with it. They said the same thing when color came out. Oh, you have to live in black and white. I don't think in black and white. I don't see in black and white. Some people do. That's their business.
There's no other way to do it.
Je suis cinéaste.
All right. Nice video, Charles.
Thank you. Yeah. Credits are rolling here. I just want to make sure everybody that did it years ago. But yeah, that was kind of fun, and we're back.
So what I love most about that video is that anytime I see a lightsaber rotoscoped, I don't know if you actually rotoscoped it or if it was a different technology, but
I did.
When Lucas came out with the stupid special edition and still didn't fix the lightsaber blinking out, like, how can you not fix that? Like, every film student in the world can do this, Lucas. Like, put the lightsaber, because at one point Obi-Wan's blinks out, right, and it looks kind of flat.
Yeah, when it turns to the
Anyway, that was good. I did like that. I liked the humor with the contrast.
Yeah, kind of fun.
All right. So on that note, shall we move on to Cold Mountain?
Let's do it.
Shall.
2003. This movie tells the story of a wounded Confederate soldier named Inman who struggles on a perilous journey to get back home to Cold Mountain, North Carolina, as well as to Ada Monroe, the woman he left behind before going off to fight in the Civil War. Along the way, he meets a long line of interesting and colorful characters. While back at home, Ada is learning the ropes of managing her deceased father's farm with Ruby Thews. I forget how her name, Ruby Thews? Played by Renee Zellweger, a scrappy drifter who assists and teaches Ada along the way.
And here's the trailer.
So much time has passed since you left. This war is lost on the battlefield and is being lost twice over by those who stayed behind. Are you alive? I pray to God you are. If you are fighting, stop fighting. If you are marching, stop marching. I will not leave Cold Mountain. My last thread of courage is to wait for you.
You ain't coming back, you know that. You must know that in your heart.
Any soldier turned deserter is guilty of treason and shall be hunted down like a dog.
I ain't getting shot again for some cause I don't believe in.
I don't have any money. This was my father's. You can see the engraving.
Poor soul, she's got nobody and nothing.
Old Lady Swinger says you need help. Here I am.
They kept trying to put me in the ground. They never killed me. You are all that keeps me from sliding into some dark place.
When this war is over, there will be a reckoning.
They call this war a cloud over the land, but they made the weather, and then they stand in the rain and say, it's raining!
Come on!
Come back to me. Come back to me. That's my request.
All right, and that is Cold Mountain. This is, in fact, you are all correct, my good pick. I could never say that Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, is better than this movie. I'll say it's not the perfect good movie, but I think about this movie a lot. I think about it with the marriage scene where she says, I marry you, or he says, I marry you, I marry you, I marry you. And then she laughs about it and says, it's actually, I divorce you, because that came out in a book I recently read as well, which kind of triggered it. But I just really like this movie. I love the music. Obviously, Jack White actually had a hand in the soundtrack. He recorded like 5 of these songs. I don't think he wrote them. I think they took a bunch of old classic traditional songs, and it's the same arranger that did "Oh Brother Where Art Thou," and so he dug back into like the traditional folk music to try to set the tone for this movie, and I think just did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
And it just captures the horror of war and the Civil War in particular. Again, we have very similar to "A Brother Where Art Thou." It's a journey home story, and there's a lot of comparisons you could draw with the Odyssey specifically. I think the Coen brothers did it much more intentionally with like literally a Cyclops with John Goodman's eye patch. But in this one, you have like the blind man who's roasting the peanuts, and there's blind Tiresias. There's like Tiresias is the soothsayer in the Odyssey, and this blind guy was also an old wise man and stuff like that. And the love story is so believable. Jude Law and Nicole Kidman are like just great in this movie. I don't know. I love it. I think about it a lot, and I own the soundtrack, and anytime one of the tracks comes on, I'd stop and listen to it because it's all so good.
I agree. I really, really like it. I don't love Renee Zellweger in it, and it's sort of odd to me that she, like, of all the great acting in this movie she got, the only Oscar nomination, and she won it for Best Supporting. Which I like Renee Zellweger, but I think I don't know. I can't put my finger on it exactly. I don't know if it was the accent. None of the accents I thought were really amazing, but it's rare to see somebody do a really, really good Southern accent in a movie if they're not a native speaker. But yeah, loved it. Loved the music. That's really cool. I didn't know that Jack White had such a hand in the soundtrack. That's really awesome. I do think the music told the story. It transported you there. Oh my gosh, I had so many feelings of agony while I was watching this. And the end got me. But yeah, man, really, really, really good movie.
See, sounds like I like this the least out of all of you. Like, I just, again, I think it's a good movie, but it left me wanting a lot more, and the accents bothered the heck out of me. They all did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Renee Zellweger is from Texas, and yet I couldn't stand her accent either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out here and say that I actually think that Nicole Kidman was a bit miscast. I don't know. It just didn't quite fit that part for me. I mean, I eventually warmed up to her character, but at the beginning it was just kind of too much. It's too much with the accent she's doing. It's too much with all of it, right? I just could not take her as a 1800, it's just, I couldn't take her during this period. I just did not believe it. You know what I mean?
It is the 1800s, Charles, if you're doubting yourself.
Well, it wasn't even that.
Civil War, was it?
No, I know it's 1800s. I was trying to say I was trying to think of what I wanted to say, like whether I wanted to say, is she too modern? Like, is she more of like a 20th century woman? And I can't see her in period pieces. But then I liked her in The Hours. Was that in the, what century was that in? When she was playing,
that, I don't know. I think it would be early 1900s.
Anyway, I was trying so in that movie I liked her. So I don't know what it is about this. I don't know why she doesn't fit in this period.
I think Nicole Kidman's an alien anyway. She never seems to fit into any movie, but I just enjoyed her in this one. But I can see what you mean. She's a little wilty. She's kind of like what I mentioned about who did I call wilty from Armageddon? What's her name? Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler. She's kind of the similar. It's like, and it's funny y'all mention accents because I know that I'm sure they should have bothered me, but I was talking with Kelly beforehand about how bad my impersonations are. So maybe I'm just so tone deaf when it comes to that it just doesn't bother me that the accents are bad. But Renee Zellweger won the Oscar, and I remembered liking her performance a little more than I actually did, but I still really enjoyed her. She was still she's
good as the comedic relief for sure.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
And actually, I really don't like Renee Zellweger in general. But this movie made me think a lot better of her as an actress.
Yeah,
she's very plucky.
Yeah.
And again, I like that story, and I haven't really seen that, like the women that stayed behind and all that. It's good. It's a good story. I mean, I guess you could say that about Gone with the Wind to an extent, but I don't know. Have either of you read the book that this is based on?
No, I really want to.
I haven't, but I was gonna say the other thing that bothers me about the movie is the editing. And this is another thing. This movie was nominated for editing, and I think at the beginning it didn't need to be told out of order, because eventually it comes back into the right order. It just feels like they did away with that plot device early on. But I really wish they'd just started it and brought us all the way up through it, because it felt, not only was it out of order, and that's a little confusing, because she would talk about, you'd see, spoiler alert, you'd see her father die, and then you'd hear her in the very next scene writing a letter, oh, that was last winter, last fall. It's like, so we skipped this whole period,
Yeah.
It's just hard to
I read that
Go ahead.
Sorry, I read that the book was written, I don't think it went back in time like that, but it was written in, I think one chapter was Ada and one chapter was India.
Right, I've heard that, and so I heard that they were kind of,
chronological.
and I like that. I do like they were going back and forth with their story. I just wish it had been chronological, for one, to introduce us to these characters a little bit better, and also too, I don't think they focused on stuff as long as they should have. It felt like they skimmed over stuff, and it was just like bam, 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 bam. So that kind of drove me nuts.
Probably could have cut some of the scenes and lingered longer on others. I
right.
agree. And I think the editing is probably the worst. It's funny because I feel like this movie is probably nominated for the opposite things it should have been nominated for.
Right.
Like Renee Zellweger may have been one of the weaker performances, and she was the only one that won the Oscar. And the editing was weird because they would also be like the super serious, like I think it was the Natalie Portman scene, like the horrific thing that was like they like cut in the middle of that, and they went to this kind of sweet, more upbeat scene with Ada. I was like, wait, what? And then they went bad. So,
but those the supporting cast, I think, with the exception of Renee Zellweger, I think they're the ones that really made the movie for me because, I mean, again, not that I hate Renee Zellweger's character, I thought she was funny in it, but like, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman, I liked his performance, I liked his character, I liked the Natalie Portman scene. I thought that was really tragic, and that's some of the best. Those are some of the part where. Philip Seymour Hoffman and the Chain Gang and all that stuff. Like those are some of the best scenes in the movie to me. So
I really like Brendan Gleeson too. I've always liked him.
Yes.
If you don't know who that is, he played what was his character in Harry Potter? The guy with the moving eyeball.
Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, Mad Eye Moody.
And he also I read a thing that he's actually can play, and that's really him playing in the movie.
Yeah.
And he helped pick some of the songs too. So
awesome.
I really did like that a lot. And that's another scene too, like those scenes around the campfire and the guy that played Beowulf, I'm blinking on
Ray Winstone.
He's in this
back. Beowulf's back.
I actually didn't mind his accent in this movie. He had one of the stronger Southern accents to me. Surprisingly, like for some reason it took me out. I was like, that's not him. Is it? That can't be him because he, like every movie I've ever seen him in, he does that Cockney accent, and then it's like, wow, okay,
that would have been great.
Why? I guess I wonder why they chose. It seems like a lot of the people in this were, British actors. Whether it's him.
Well, and they filmed in like Romania, in the Carpathian Mountains.
Did they? I didn't even know that. But yeah, it seems like these are a lot of
funny,
British people doing these Southern American accents. I mean, it's just interesting to me. So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there, like I said, there's certain scenes that I think are just really powerful and great. It's just. I feel like I wanted more out of this movie. I mean, this is the same director he did The English Patient. So, he kind of does these kind of drawn out stories like this, but visually like splendid, so.
Yeah.
And we haven't really talked about Jude Law. I like Jude Law in it. It did take me a while to kind of get used to him, like, cause like it's another, English actor that I keep picturing that, So it took me a while to get used to him, but he was good.
I liked him in it. I did.
Not all as prejudiced against limeys as you are, Charles. But
yeah,
I didn't realize that about you. But okay, let's move on.
Well, no, I think they did a better. I think they did a better Southern accent than like Renee Zellweger, who's actually from Texas. So,
He's actually from there.
And I remember even when I first saw this movie, I remember even thinking that then I was like, wait a minute, like she's getting all the credit for all this thing, which she was good in it, but her accent's really crazy. Like it's all over the place. So.
The other thing about accents is we know nothing about what people actually sounded like. Right. I mean, we do, like linguists have some idea of phonetic spellings and stuff like that, but also it's hard to even know what's realistic and what's not. So I've never had a problem just getting.
Well, there's a
suspending my disbelief.
Oh, what's the movie? There's a movie about it deals with like the aftermath of the Lincoln assassination. I can't think of what it's called. It's a Robert Redford movie, though. But anyway, they were watching to make it on that. And they were talking about, they could have used like actual like transcripts and stuff and written diaries and stuff for some of the language in these characters because they were real life people. But they said that people of today's audience wouldn't be able to understand what they were saying. Right. It's like, and I often wonder, did language change that much since the 1860s? I don't know.
Well, the cool thing is like the Southern American accent, like post Revolution, is closer to what British accent sounded like at the time than British is today. Because in Britain they were trying to distance themselves from us, so they're the ones who changed since like the late 1700s to what they speak today to try to like distance themselves from the stupid Americans.
So is that to say that if you were to go back then, they would sound what we consider American?
Yeah, or Southern, like Southern turn of the century American. Not turn of the century, just like the way they spoke in the late 17 and early 1800s in the South is the most close to how they spoke during the Revolution in Britain.
It's interesting.
Wow.
I've heard that before. It's just hard to wrap your head around it. I mean, imagine if you made a movie in that period in England and you had him speaking with Southern American accents. People would kind of flip it out, I think.
Yeah. And we don't want authenticity. We necessarily. We have our limits. It's the same with Shakespeare. If you go back farther, 1600, like you read a lot of that stuff, and today the words don't even rhyme. In the plays today, because we pronounce them so differently. Mm-hmm. And it would sound so weird to pronounce some of the rhymes that way because they're so off. But
it's interesting.
Right. We've got a comment in our Facebook Live. Sarah says, as a non-Southerner, I didn't think it was that bad at the time I watched it. I didn't know any different. So there you go. Maybe we're just judging too harshly.
Perhaps.
Y'all are accent snobs.
Perhaps.
Just go with Renee Zellweger, Charles. I'm sure she did her research.
Sure.
And they stand in the rain and they say, shoot, it's raining. I don't know. It's like whatever. Okay.
Sounds just like my grandma. Okay. Who's not from Texas, but
a rare and beautiful Charles impression.
Yes.
All right, Charles, what do you have queued up next? Did you do
Walk Hard's next? Yeah, because I figured. So that's another thing. The Mutant Swingers. I have no idea when that movie was made. IMDb says 2009, so I put it at the end.
But I think it was made in like the 90s, but they didn't release it till 2009. I think because of Jack White. Like I think that's part of why they decided to release it, because he had gotten famous. Like, oh, maybe this can get some traction.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, so you ready to do Walk Hard?
Yeah, Walk Hard is the up and down and up again story of musician Dewey Cox, whose songs would change a nation. On his rock and roll spiral, Cox sleeps with 411 women, marries 3 times, has 36 kids, stars in his own 70s TV show, collects friends ranging from Elvis to the Beatles. I don't think he was friends with Elvis. Anyway, to the Beatles to a chimp, and gets addicted to and then kicks every drug known to man. But despite it all, Cox grows into a national icon and eventually earns the love of a good woman, longtime backup singer, Darlene.
You know, sometimes we complain that the synopses are too short. That was one of the longest ones. All right, here we go.
We've done longer. I know I've read a longer one.
Here's the trailer.
Mr. Cox? Mr. Cox.
Give him a minute, son. Dewey Cox needs to think about his entire life before he plays.
From the time he was a boy.
Ain't no 6-year-old understand the true meaning of the blues.
I reckon I might.
I done a bad thing. Cut my brother in half. It's not bad for your first time.
The music of Dewey Cox has had an effect on people.
It's the devil's music.
From the guy who brought you Talladega Nights and Superbad.
You've got to give up this dream. You're never gonna make it.
And maybe you don't believe in me after all.
I do believe in you. I just know you're gonna fail.
Columbia Pictures presents The Epic Journey.
Walking to the top of a mountain ain't easy. It's a long, hard walk. But I will walk hard.
Of the man who became a legend.
Walk hard. The Beatles want to hang out, so I'm going to go do that.
With meditation, there's no limit to what we can imagine.
This Christmas.
I'm leaving you.
You can take the children, but you leave me, my monkey.
When it comes to music.
I ain't good enough to follow Elvis.
There's 2 things you need to know. I'm the king, and number 2 is look out, man! You see how close I came to your head? I can chop a man in half.
I'm guilty as charged.
No legend is bigger than Cox.
You met my new wife, Cheryl Cox T. Thanks, buddy Holly. What do you think, George Harrison?
The one, the only, Dewey Cox.
And thank you, Eddie Vedder.
Walk hard.
What happened to you, Dewey?
I don't know, but I know what happened to you. Patrick Duffy took a beating. Walk hard.
My life has been blessed, from my singing to my family to my sausage. It doesn't say Cox unless I say it tastes like Cox.
Walk hard.
And there you have the epic tale of Dewey Cox, Walk Hard. And this, of course, is my ugly pick. This is such a great It's ugly because it's so wacky. It's a really well-made comedy. It does edge into the good territory. But I remember not liking it as much in theater because this came on the coattails, I think, of like Anchorman really started off this whole like Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, all of these kind of wacky comedies that we've actually talked quite a lot about recently. And so this kind of felt like one of the weaker ones at the time. Going back and watching it, it's a really good satire of the music biopic documentary. It's got a lot of good jokes, a lot of good SNL cast. But it's all around fun. Some of the jokes are a little bit obvious, or you can see them coming from like 8 miles away, when it's like, oh, yeah, this is going to end with this punchline. Okay. When they're in the recording studio and he's like, there is no way you can salvage what you just did. The only way you could do it is if you played this amazing tune that's so soulful. It just kept going for like a full minute and a half. And we know what's coming. Let's get to it.
One of the recurring gags that I liked a lot was all the drug taking in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You don't want none of this. Actually, I think I do. Like, I like those every time.
It's non-habit forming.
It doesn't give you a hangover.
Yeah, that was. I love Tim Meadows. He's one of my favorite all-time SNL.
Yeah. No, and that's the cool thing. Like, this movie just, everybody in it like pops up in like these kind of surprise cameos. I mean, the Beatles even having. This is a movie that has Jack White and Jack Black. Which, correct me if I'm wrong. Did they not make something where they called it Jack Gray recently?
I think so. I don't know. I did hear about that. The Fort Worth Zoo down by me. They had a zebra that was born recently, and they named it Jack. And they said, "Is it Jack White with black stripes or Jack White with black stripes?" And they said the first of them to visit the zoo, they would get to name it their name. But I don't think either of them ever visited. I don't know. Start Fort Worth Zoo. I liked Paul Rudd as the lead Beatle, John Lennon.
Yeah.
And who are the others? Paul Rudd, Jack Black.
You had Jason Long as George Harrison, and then what's the guy's name? He's always in Wes Anderson movies. I can't think of his.
Luke Perry?
Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, Schwartzman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's him, right? Yeah, as Ringo Starr.
I think so. Yeah. And so the Jack White, is like 15 seconds was him playing Elvis, and he wasn't even a very convincing Elvis either. His impersonation wasn't that great.
The part you saw in the trailer, that's like his entirety. That's it.
Except at the end, at the end when he's singing the very final song, Dewey Cox says, and then you get another little scene of that they didn't include where he has got a switchblade to his throat. So it's basically Elvis Presley just judo chopping, like about to pretend judo chopping him in the neck, and Dewey Cox.
Well, and when I watched this trailer, when I was getting it ready for the podcast, there's a lot of scenes in the trailer that aren't in the final cut, and apparently there is a really long extended cut that I haven't seen. Because this movie's about like an hour and a half. There's like a 2-hour cut of this movie, and part of that is a lot of extended stuff with Elvis. That sequence is a lot longer apparently, and then there's the whole 70s stuff where he's punching Patrick Duffy. and they even cut out his third wife. Like he gets married there somewhere. So I don't know. Just a lot of stuff.
I thought this movie was hilarious. I didn't really have much expectation going in. I don't always love some. These are hit or miss for me. Like I like Anchorman. I think it's really funny. I don't know about Step Brothers, but so I was like, okay, Dewey Cox walk or whatever. But I thought the comedy was so successful. I mean, Zach and I watched it and we were cracking up.
Yeah.
Like, in the beginning, when he was like, when the brother got killed, and he was like, "I'm cut in half real bad," and it's just, we were dying.
Is that you, Renee Zellweger? Is that you?
One of the best jokes was right after when the dad starts his, the wrong kid died, which he sings later on, and he's like says it all over. But he's telling Dewey Cox is like, "You're not even half of the brother after you cut him in half." And Dewey is like, "So you're saying I'm less than a quarter of the kid that our brother is?"
Wrong kid died.
There are a lot of funny jokes. And just may I say, not to get too personal, but I appreciate that they include male nudity as well as female nudity, right? Sometimes I feel like women get objectified too much, and then when they throw the male nudity in there as a joke, I'm like, okay, I appreciate it. That's equity, right? That's fair for all.
It is really funny though.
It was, yeah,
because you're not expecting it.
Yeah, everything about this. I mean, I love Kristen Wiig as his first wife with
she was great.
The like crazy hair thing that she's got going on. She always has 5 kids in her hand.
And even after he's like had this huge hit, he's like, "You'll never be successful. You'll never amount to anything."
Well, and
he's like, "Why don't you believe in me? I do believe in you. I just know you're gonna fail."
I liked her. But John C. Reilly is amazing in this movie. I mean, this is a heck of a performance. Yeah. He was nominated for a Golden Globe. There's part of me that's like, I really wish the Academy Awards were more open to comedies, because the performance here, all the singing which he did, the dancing, even when they were doing the things about him looking like not Buddy Holly, about Bob Dylan, then he has to go and do Bob Dylan, it's mind blowing the level of talent he did for this movie, and was still really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a very underrated actor. I don't think he gets his due. He's, I think this, and you guys have seen Chicago, right? Now he was nominated for Chicago. I think he was amazing in that movie, but
did he win supporting actor?
No, he was just nominated, but part of that was for I'm assuming is when he did the Mr. Cellophane Man song in that movie, which I love. But he's just a very underrated talent, and I kind of wish he would do more dramas and more musicals even.
I had no idea. I guess I just forgot about him having an amazing voice, because it totally bowled me over when I was watching.
Now, did he do all of the singing? There was one song where I thought maybe not, but it did sound like him for almost all of them.
I'm pretty sure he did, because he has an amazing range, and that's what I'm saying. On top of that, he's also doing impersonations. I mean, it's talent.
Yeah.
Because he had that Johnny Cash sound, and then at one point he sounded just like Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
He was all over the map, and he totally killed it. And Jenna Fisher, I thought was good too.
I love the first duet. I love the first duet.
Duet.
Yeah, that was cracking me up.
And the music is all really well written too. Mm-hmm. They're all catchy music, really convincing songs. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast before, but I've been telling everybody about it. On Netflix, there's a show called Documentary Now. Have you watched it, Charles?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's really, really good, because it's Bill Hader and I always forget the other guy's name, who are 2 SNL guys who do these really well produced, humorous mockumentaries basically, but they're so well done that it's a very weird experience watching them. They're so good. Anyway, so I really
Swingers from Mars good.
Not quite, but almost. I really suggest it. For y'all, if y'all like this kind of movie where they go all out for the comedy and make it really well done, make it very good. I suggest that.
I like it.
Helen Mirren introduces them all.
I like it when there's a lot of attention to detail. I mean, that helps sell it, but it's also funny. It's just Walk Hard is just one of those movies that, like you said, Kelly, I think it catches you off guard because you're going in expecting just the absolute dumbest movie, and it's not. It's funny and it is stupid, but it's there's so much talent behind it.
And it's an odd mix because it is kind of dumb, but it's also really smart and sharp in other ways.
Yeah,
so it's hard to decide which one it is.
Yeah, I don't think the trailer really does it justice. Plus, like I said, the trailer shows clips that aren't in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, I think you should watch it. It's funny. And it's on Netflix. It actually just came back on Netflix. So
it's kind of like that.
Is it a cat behind you?
Awesome. No, I'm trying to shoot them out.
Oh, okay.
As my mic is muted, but it's not working. They're kind of like the Austin Powers movies are like that too. You're like, oh, Austin Powers, and then you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. These are great movies, and everything's funny in them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So cool.
All right,
Charles. You mentioned Mutant Swinger from Mars.
So this is our bonus movie. I have a trailer for that too. So go ahead and do the synopsis.
Nice. So I love the synopsis from IMDb because I'll read it as it is. A long-lost sci-fi film from the 50s finally has been recovered. Martians form Mars, come to Earth for its, with an incorrect apostrophe, its most valuable resource, women. It's up to Rusty Rave to stop them.
All right, and here's the trailer.
Space. A strange and unusual place. A place where one day man will explore and boldly go where no man has gone ever. Hello, I'm Orton Z. Criswell. Writer, producer, director, actor, and psychic. I have foreseen the future, and I can tell you this. I have foreseen aliens, unfriendly aliens, sneaking onto our planet undetected. A war of the worlds is about to start on this planet. A fight to the death. They will take control of our cities, our public schools, our presidents, and our pets.
You're cute.
He looks like he's in La La Land, Steve. Say, what gives, baby? You wound up like a cheap watch. Oh, come on, Bubby. Da-da-da-da.
Rusty, be full.
Seize her! I'll take her to the spaceship!
Rusty!
I'll take her! Back here! Shoot! Shoot! Not me, you moron!
Watch now and learn about the dreaded goings-on of space creatures that will soon visit us and do the unspeakable.
Seen anything unusual?
No. No, nothing unusual.
Watch now and see what will happen when worlds collide. Beware. Look up. Listen. It could be happening sooner than you think. It could be happening now. Trust no one.
All right, Mutant Swinger from Mars is probably about as good as you would think from the title. There's a lot of problems. So I sprung this on Kelly and Charles like last minute. So I know Kelly didn't have a chance, and Charles only watched some of it. How much did you watch, Charles?
Maybe about 20 to 30 minutes, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. So the problem with it starts off with this hugely long intro of Orson C. Creswell, who's this pretend director, kind of like old school.
He's kind of like the
Hitchcock.
He's kind of like the one in Ed Wood, the main
Orson Welles. Yeah,
yeah, it's a combination of Orson Welles and then is it Criswell? I think it's the name of the guy in Ed Wood as well. The Jeffrey Jones plays him. I'm not sure.
So he does this like long intro where the director is introducing his own movie, and then he gets into the B movie itself. So what this movie has going for it, even though it's a terrible movie, is that it knows it's a terrible movie and is kind of making fun of B movies. But also it doesn't really achieve that. Like it doesn't achieve the mock part well enough for it to be good enough to watch. You know what I mean? It feels like a laudable student film.
That's kind of how I felt about it. Yeah. The intro part that I watched, because that's the bulk of what I saw before it really got into the movie.
The movie's not quite. I mean, it's about as entertaining as the intro. There's a couple good little jokes in there. But mostly it's just, and they shot it, what does it call, on the round or whatever, where it's like one camera that's just mounted and can rotate around to the sets because they just built the sets all around it and just shot it quickly from set to set, which is kind of cool, just thinking about that. Jack White's part is limited to this kind of secondhand character who just is in the club dancing and he keeps talking to the main character and he's just kind of a knucklehead. but you can tell it was made. So, like we were talking about, it was released in 2007 or 9. What did we say?
IMDb listed as 2009, but the credits on the movie in that trailer say 2003, and then I don't know.
But then looking at Jack White, he looks super young. He looks like it would have because the White Stripes I think dropped their first album in '99, and it would have to be before that. At least a year. So you think this is before?
Was White Stripes his first where he was first popular?
Yeah.
So this movie was before he was even like a popular person at all.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so. That's if my detective work is correct. And also what I read about this movie is that it was made during the 90s. So that would have to be right before. So if I had to shoehorn this and fix my category picks, then I could say movies featuring Jack White after he was well known as a musician.
If you were putting having discovered this after the fact, I mean, would this have been a good, bad, or ugly pick, or would it have not replaced any of them? Would it? So it would replace Coffee and Cigarettes?
Probably would have replaced Coffee and Cigarettes, yeah, because that's the most ambivalent one.
Okay. Interesting.
But there's, like I said, there's a couple good jokes at one point because the main premise is there's these 2 male aliens and a third female, and they're coming to Earth to get a mad scientist to build them a creature who is attractive and enough of a swinger in order to lure all the women away from the Earthmen so that they can have all the Earth women for themselves. And then the men will tear themselves apart without women, right? Like we'll go crazy with rage, I guess, or whatever. And so the Martian female is like, at the beginning when they're discussing this plot, she's kind of sitting in the back and she's like, what do they have that I don't have? And at the very end, she kind of falls in love with Rusty Rave, the human. And at the very end, she jumps in front to save him and falls dead. But she goes to whisper something in Rusty Rave's ear, and he bends over, and they're like, "What did she say?" And he said, "Nothing. She just licked my ear." It's like, okay, that's pretty funny. But other than that, it's like a C+ all around.
Okay,
that's rough. The way you're describing that reminds me of Meteor. When we watched that and we thought, oh yes, this is going to be such a prime ugly pick because it had everyone in it, and then we watched it and it just wasn't funny at all.
No special sauce.
Nope.
All right. Is that all you got to say about that one, or?
Yeah, I think that's just about it. A little special, and I apologize to my listeners out there who are judging me for my Jack White knowledge.
All right. So then. I guess are we finally up to Kelly then?
I'm excited. I want to hear Kelly's.
Yeah, we got to hear these. Yes, Kelly's been teasing this Keira Knightley period piece thing
months.
Is it just months? I mean, I feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think because I announced it right before, in December. I want to say.
Oh wow, okay. I thought it was longer than that, but all right.
And then something.
Charles, you stop it.
No, I'm serious.
I'm pointing out our flaws.
No, that's not pointing out. Whoa. No, okay. Okay, before you go, that does remind me, though, that I did post the part 14 of Here and There, the James Bond today.
Yes.
And that was done a year after the last one.
And in only 21 more months, we'll have our final cleanup.
It was almost
episode.
to the day. It was like, because I have the original recording date on both, and I'm like, oh, man. So, anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Kelly.
Well, So, LOL, I'm actually not going to do my Keira Knightley picks this time. I'll do the next time.
I almost did a spit take on that one. I had.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I don't mean to make you spit
There's no ugly film with Keira Knightley in it. That's why.
After all that teasing?
I know. Well, I have my reasons, but okay. It's coming around the mountain, don't you fret. But this time we are going to be doing Nicholas Sparks adaptations.
Oh no. So much worse. So much worse than Keira Knightley. Okay.
It is time. And the picks are in chronological order. A Walk to Remember, 2002.
No.
The Notebook, 2004.
No.
And The Choice, 2016.
The Choice? Huh.
Yeah.
That's the only one of those I haven't seen. I don't even... Who's in The Choice?
It is Teresa Palmer and... What's his face? McGee. I cannot remember his name.
Oh, is this... James Martin, or Is that him?
No.
No, not that one. Marsden?
No, that was The Best of Me.
Oh, okay. That's also a Nicholas Sparks, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Oh, The Notebook.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those people who hates on, like...
Maybe you just need to revisit it, Mark. I mean, and I shan't reveal which one it is. I mean...
So, would you say Keira Knightley's coming around the mountain? Do you mean like next? Because you are going to go twice in a row. Is it the next time?
Yeah, I'll do it next time.
Okay. Can you give us a teaser on that one just to appease the gods here? Like, the people that have been waiting. Yeah, do you have your picks for that one yet? Or no, still don't?
I do not recall.
Okay. All right, fine.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, fine. So that's our next one of these. Awesome. Okay. And then this month, on what day is it going to be on? It's let me see. It's the
24th?
The 24th, yeah. 24th, 8 Central. So this is an hour earlier than usually do. Topher and I are officially bringing back what used to be called the original Good, Bad, and Podcast. We're calling it 50-50. And basically what it is, it's we're going to continue the list that we started at least 10 years ago, where we're looking at IMDb's top 50 movies of all time and the bottom 50 movies of all time. And so we're just going to continue our list. And so on this upcoming episode, we're going to do The Hottie and the Naughty, which stars Paris Hilton. And we're going to we're going to look at Taxi Driver, which stars Robert De Niro. Topher used to get mad when I would say compare them versus we're not really comparing them. It's just that they happen to be lined up that way. So
no, I think you should force a comparison.
Yeah, well, I do sometimes. This is this has been a long time coming. We haven't done one in a long time. I'm gonna this month leading up to that, I'm gonna start posting the original episodes that we did so far, kind of with the new rebranding. So I'm really excited. This has been a long time coming.
What episode will it be? Like how many movies? How many of the?
This
is it like 8 or 9?
So this will be the 41st. No. Yes, 40th.
Really?
Well, we did 10. We did all of the 10. So we did all. Of
starting from 50, going back. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So we're in that. I'm trying to think. Is it 41st? I can't think of what it is.
The 41st worst movie and best movie of all time.
Maybe not though. I'm getting that all backwards.
You just took a snapshot of the worst movies when you started, right?
Yeah, the worst movies and the best movies, so we can kind of count down. So when you get to 1, it's going to be the best and worst movie of all time, side by side, according to IMDb. And that changes a lot, and that's why it's hard for me to keep it straight if I'm not looking at it, because at one point we considered starting over, because, like I said, it's been at least 10 years since we started, and we're looking at the list, and like now Cats is on it, and that's... it surprised me too that it's on the best movies of all time, but it is there. And but there are so many movies. In point of fact, that the movies that on the bad list, the bad one's the one that changes the most. But neither the best or worst movie is the same as it was back then. So it's really interesting. I think the best one on ours, if I'm not mistaken, is Shawshank Redemption, and the worst is a movie called Daniel the Wizard. It's a German film. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but yeah. But if we go about our pattern, it's like we're doing like 10 movies in 10 years. So we're going to be doing this a long time. But no, we're going to try to be consistent about this. The goal is to at least do one every other month. And then next month we'll see. Next month we may be doing another here and there. I don't know. You guys have your... Are you planning on doing it next month? I don't know what the plan is. I know you got the follow-up.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are we doing Good Bad Podcast after 50-50, or are we doing the James Bond next?
Both. So it'll go a month from now we'll be doing the Kelly's pick, and then 2 weeks from that we'll be doing the Here and There, which is your last episode.
Yeah.
And then Good Bad Podcast, and then me. I'm thinking we'll alternate Here and There with 50-50. That's kind of my goal. But continue to do at least one Good Bad Podcast every month, because I have a special plan for October, so I definitely want it to be my pick come October for this one, and I think it's a genre that both of you are going to hate, but I'm excited about.
Oh, good.
So
great.
If that doesn't give away too much.
I am really afraid of what that means.
And by the way,
because I'm really afraid you're going to make me be really afraid.
Well, no. I would, yes. So it does relate to Halloween. That's why I want to do it. But it's not. You're not going to hate it because it's going to scare you. I will say that.
Good. That's my only criteria.
I know that some of that, but you will hate it for other reasons. I will say that.
Don't worry, there will be hate in your heart.
Yeah, I can't. Every time I see a movie and I think of the kind of caliber that we're going to be watching for that, I think Mark and Kelly would hate that movie. How can I possibly work it into a genre? So sometimes I am going for a reaction, but also it's a good genre too, and I think it'll really work. So, and by the way, it's a fake cigarette. I don't really smoke. This is a puff cigarette.
Yep.
If everybody's wondering, just to clarify on that.
Don't smoke.
Yeah, we are
the
not.
Good Bad Podcast
We're not encouraging smoking. I know that we talked about coffee and cigarettes, and that trailer was full of coffee and cigarettes, but don't smoke. Smoking is bad. Don't start it up if you don't already, and if you are, please try to quit. It will kill you. That's Dr. Mike would definitely praise us for saying that, I think.
And
that's for you, Dr. Mike.
Note.
Yes. You can catch us live on
you got
Facebook. What?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. And Mark, on our outro, by the way, I on the Here and There outro that you just did for James Bond, I had to kind of dub you in with your own voice, of course, but they search for Here and There if they're looking for Here and There. They search for Good Bad Podcast if they're looking for Good Bad Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You said Good Bad Podcast on the Here and There, so I kind of...
That's true.
Yeah, so I kind of found an old clip. So if you guys watch that on YouTube, you're going to see
Mark's...
You're going to see Good Bad Podcast, but it's really going to say Here and There.
Why don't the lips match up?
Yeah, that's why.
All right. Okay, so you can catch us live on Facebook or listen to the replay on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube by searching Good Bad Podcast, all one word. Or head over to our website, itsjustawesome.com, all one word. Wherever you check us out, be sure to subscribe. It really, truly, honestly does help.
Yes, please.
Thank you, guys.
Please subscribe. Thank you, guys.
I have been Mark.
I have been Kelly.
I guess I'm Charles. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks,